Greetings, I'm Pillar Next to Ancient Gladiator with more Pillar Loves tabletop games. So I've chosen to make two final exceptions for my board game collection. And the first one is Age of Conan, the strategy board game, based on the classic Conan franchise by Robert E. Howard. In this game, you'll be playing as one of four kingdoms: Aquilonia, Hyperborea, Turan, and Stygia, on your goal to acquire the most empire points, which you will do through completing objectives, acquiring adventure tokens, and having the most of a given category at the end, having the most gold at the end, and having the most Crom Count the Dead tokens at the end, which you get from fighting battles against other players. And to that end, you'll have your military units, your armies, to go capture various regions, your emissaries, which will build towers to control locations and get you money. You'll also have strategy cards, which help you with intrigue and military contests, plus the bid for Conan. You'll have kingdom cards, which let you do various things like play events, call forth characters, or use special one-time abilities. At the start of the game, each player will have 4 emissaries and either 4 or 5 military units. Magically inclined empires will only have 4, but they'll start out with 2 sorcery tokens, which provide the ability to reroll combat dice, or contest dice, as it were. They can be used for military or intrigue. And then each empire starts out with 3 gold. I don't need that extra one. And 2 strategy and 2 kingdom cards. And then the game will start off with the first bid for Conan. Each player will receive an extra strategy card to work with. And then we'll take a strategy card from their hand and one of their tokens, and the combined value will decide whether or not they win Conan when they compare it to everyone else's. So the tokens, there's a 0, the 3, and the 4, 5, and 6. You always get back the 3. The 4, 5, and 6 get set aside. You can't use them again until you play your 0. Your 0 goes to the side. You get your 4, 5, and 6 back. But then once you use them, they're gone. The strategy cards for Conan, bidding for Conan, are numbered anywhere from 1 to 6. Notice that 3 and 4 are pretty common. Very rare do I see a 6. So you'll secretly choose your strategy card and your token along with every other player, and then you'll reveal them, and the highest gets the Conan player card. Yes, you control Conan. So on your turn, before you select your fate die, you can move Conan 1 closer to the destination. If someone can point out a shorter route, if you've chosen a longer one, then you're not going to get it. So you'll move to here or to here, and that's 1 closer to the destination. And then either before or after moving, you can place a raider token in the spot where he was, or it's going to be or adjacent to any of them. We'll throw a raider into the border kingdoms. No, we'll leave it behind the Cimmerian. We'll make that a little more challenging to deal with. The presence of raider tokens gives an advantage to the defense. Yeah. So yeah, you can move Conan and then take the first adventure token. These you keep secret unless you're revealing them for a very specific reason. When you take it, you have the option to throw it away and take whatever's here. Spell tokens are very hard to come across unless you're playing a magically inclined kingdom. Otherwise, this counts as 2 monsters. Now, why you're going to need those tokens is when the age changes to claim certain bonuses. We'll cover the age change in detail, but ultimately having like the most monsters, if you choose to reveal monsters, gets you the Sword of Atlantis. Women gets you the Heart of Tammuz, and treasures gets you the Cobra Crown. They all have their little special powers for contests or playing cards. The player with the least points during the age change phase gets the Conan bonus. So you basically lowball the bid and then see what everyone else does. And if you have another strategy card to make it higher, you can throw that one away as well and to replace the card and then win it. I don't know, it seems kind of weak. I almost want a house rule with like, you have to wait and see whether what everyone else's bids are, but you have to commit the token first, at least. Yeah. So yeah. So regardless of whether or not you're controlling Conan, your actual turn involves selecting a fate die. These are rolled at the start of the game. When they run out, the next player in line will roll one. Yeah. So you have the option to choose military. Military lets you move armies, move them, and then actually attack into an adjacent territory or province, or build up one army unit into different friendly provinces. Like, your kingdom is friendly to you at the start of the game, so might as well take that option when you need it. But outside of your kingdom, you are limited to 5 in one location. So actually, starting the campaign, you'll do this. You'll put your guys in the province, and you'll put someone on the first spot of the track. You'll then have the option to, if you have instant powers, you can use those. If you have strategy cards that match the terrain, we'll go digging for it. Yeah. You can play for this terrain, this card, and now you can count shields as successes. So the actual combat dice themselves, from left to right up top, there's hit plus one more hit if you have Conan on your side and in the battle. Hit as long as you're the attacker. Blank is nothing. Shield only counts if you played the card that does it. Axes only count if you played the card that doesn't. They count on defense for raiders. So like if there was a you're rolling for defense and there's like a raider token here, then any axes are going to count. So let's go ahead and roll this. We brought 5 people. Roll 5 dice. I've got normal hit for being the attacker, the shield hit for playing the card. So there's 3. They have 3 on defense. So presumably one of my opponents will roll for them. They got a nothing, a nothing, and a 1. So I won the contest. So we've now made it to here. We can continue this turn by performing a forced march. So I would discard a unit. If I had lost the combat, I would be back here and I'd still lose 1. But I could also force march and try again. A forced march saves you time, but at the cost of your fighting power. You can always try to build up guys later and send them in to continue that campaign. It's a risk you take. But someone else could try to fight you in this location as a battle. So let's say we're here, we're in the city, in Cartort. We want to force march. Let's say we play our elite unit, the Black Dragons. Well, let's look up when the timing is on playing the table units. So in your kingdom cards, you'll have your instance that you can play whenever. You'll have events that can only be played during your court action. So the thing is, before I selected that fate die, I would have had to do it first. Play the Black Dragons by spending 2 money. They are now a unit that I have available. And now in this combat, or this military action, I exhaust them. And now I don't have to move the army unit. And then we fight again. And let's say the battle goes well. We place our fort. And we get empire points equal to the value. 3. So we go up 3. I'm pretty sure that's what happens. Yeah, you have to remove the army unit to do it. But now it's under my control. And when we change the age, every fort is going to produce a new army unit. Or you can upgrade the fort to a city, which has the combined benefits of the tower and the fort. Alright. There's also intrigue. Intrigue, you send in an emissary. You can move 2 friendly emissaries. So one here, one here. Move 1 friendly emissary and start intrigue contest. Let's say we go there. Let's say the first intrigue we do is send 1 here, send 1 here. And the second intrigue we send 1 here, and we start the contest. So again, we roll based on, I have 1 emissary here, and then every emissary adjacent is going to count. Adjacent friendly provinces, or adjacent provinces containing a friendly emissary. So I didn't even need to move them here, unless I'm trying to get that way or that way. So I have 4 dice to their 4. Again, like with normal battles, and place a strategy card. However, what you have to have is based up here. So, because it's a 4-player game, this works in Central Hyperborea only. It lets me count shields if I have that in hand. And then we play that. We have it from hand. So, roll dice. Only rolled, got 2. I rolled a 3. I got my butt handed to me. Failing in the intrigue contest. As long as the province is neutral, the emissary remains. If the province belongs to an enemy, if they have an enemy tower, like a tower there, and let's say they built a tower there, and my contest was against them, and I lost. My emissary is killed. Now, if I had won the contest and the province was neutral, I get to remove the emissary, put a tower there, and I get that much gold. 4 gold is pretty useful. If it was an enemy, then the enemy tower is removed. They lose control. The intrigue has paid off. Yeah. In addition to moving and attacking, if you're in an enemy province with an emissary, let's say we got a 4 here, move them in and remove my emissary, and I get that much gold. I have 4 gold just by sending the emissary there. And then finally, there's just build an emissary in a friendly province. Okay. Now, some of these are split. You can only take these fate dice for that action if there's none available. So no intrigue. So I would take that for intrigue. This lets you do military, intrigue, or court, but only for the ones that are not available. Let's go on to this one. Court plus Conan. Conan. If you are the Conan player, before taking the court action, you can move him to an adjacent province and or place a raider token before or after moving. Conan. So you just get him to his destination. If you're not the Conan player, then before taking the court action, you can just take the first adventure token for yourself. And then the court action. So if you do the wild, you can only do the court part of it. You don't get the Conan. You get to draw 1 strategy and 1 kingdom card, or 2 strategy cards, or play. Where'd it go? There you go. Play the anything card. Some things let you like immediately do military or intrigue actions. That doesn't come off well. Yeah, there's a bit of a butt over here. But there's a lot of ways to get extra money, extra units, extra everything. Yeah. Eventually, everyone will have taken a fate die just posterity's sake. And then when a player starts their turn with the fate pool empty, we'll take the first player token, we'll take all the dice, roll. And those are now the available choices for the turn. There we go. Eventually, the adventure track will run out, at which point we've ended the adventure and we check. Is Conan is at his destination? If the answer is yes, the Conan player will take a random adventure token, not tell anybody about it, and add it to their own stash. So there's that bit of secrecy to make use of. And then the new adventure gets revealed. People of the Black Circle in Gulistan. Oh yeah, there's another thing. Savage territories are marked with crossbones. You cannot start entry contests in there. They will just freaking kill the emissary. And then, but anyway, players will bid for Conan again. And we'll prepare the adventure track. I don't know, I guess like 3 tokens. I'm going to throw out for posterity's sake. And eventually the adventures for that age will come to an end. And we'll do the age change phase. So, resolve raids. If you have any raider tokens in areas you control, you either have to remove an army unit or lose an empire point. And then the raider tokens are removed. Players receive 5 gold, plus 2 for every tower or city control marker they have on the board. Players receive any empire points for objectives they've completed. Then there's build cities and raise troops. You can either turn your fort into a city, which gives it the tower benefit. You cannot turn a tower into a city, unfortunately. You took the shortcut by going intrigue. You don't get to reap the benefits. And then, if you choose not to turn your fort into a city, then you get to add a army unit there. Or if you turn it into a city from like last age change, you get an army unit too. You also get an army in your home kingdom. Finally, or well, not quite finally, spending gold. You can purchase army units, emissaries, kingdom cards, or strategy cards by spending gold. The actual costs are shown in the freaking rule book instead of on the reference card, which is like, why was that not considered? Yeah, the game comes with... I printed out the fact for the game because they missed it a few things. But yeah. Purchase. An emissary costs 2. An emissary costs 2. Army unit costs 2. Kingdom and a strategy card costs 2. A strategy card by itself is just 1. There it can limit. So there's questions. Yeah, there's no hand limit, so as much as you can afford. Although you probably want to have some money set aside for playing your units. There's another thing you can do is before you take the fate die, along with playing with table units, you can spend the money to refresh them. But if you wait until the age change phase, You can refresh them for free when it actually happens. It's at the end. So yeah, players can spend their gold and then we assign cards. Way up. Alright, so let's get into the details on this. Each player selects one of their categories of tokens. So let's say I've been gathering up monsters quite a bit. I'm going to secretly select all my monster tokens. So other players will either pick, the women or the treasures or monsters. Everyone will flip their stuff up. If more than one player selects the same category, then the player who has the most of that category is going to get the appropriate card. So with monsters, I got the Sword of Atlantis. It's entirely possible for treasures to go unassigned if, everyone bid monsters. I believe if there's a tie, nobody gets it. And then the player with the lowest Empire points gets the Conan bonus card, for what it's worth. So yeah, there'll be that. We'll prepare 4 new adventures and a new adventure track. And then we'll make a new bid for controlling Conan. And then all your play on the table cards get refreshed for free. Any empty objectives get replaced as well. And then the game continues. So during the Third Age, the first 4 adventures is the First Age, the second 4 is the Second Age, the third 4 is the Third Age, and here's the little caveat of that. The game is going to end at the end of the Third Age, period. However, the Conan player, when they have the opportunity to move Conan, can bring them to their home kingdom, their home location, and then at the end of that adventure, they can try to crown him. They select one category of adventure tokens and then make their bid. Everyone else has to takes their tokens of the same kind and reveals them as well. So let's say I've been gathering up monster tokens over the room, specifically for this plan. I paid attention to the adventure track and all that. Let's say I've got 8 monsters. If nobody beats me on this, then I successfully crown Conan, and the game ends immediately. Otherwise, the game comes to an end at the end of the last adventure. Alternatively, if I screw up the bid because someone has more, Conan kills me. My Empire marker is removed. I've lost the game. Period. And then, but once the end of the game is hit, the following things happen. Each player collects gold equal to the rating of their friendly provinces where they have a tower or city. So, I got my towers somewhere. I got all that money. Each player adds the Empire point rewards from the objectives they fulfilled. Again, like the exchange phase. Each player then receives Empire points equal to the combined values of the province ratings of all provinces they control. So it has to have a fort or a city. So I have a fort here in Alter. There's another 3 points. As long as I'm not dead. And players calculate the final scores by checking to see certain bonuses. So there's 3 types as I've mentioned before, there's the 3 types of adventure tokens. For each category, we see which player has the most. They get a 5-point bonus. However, if a player crowned Conan, they are the only one that gets to claim that bonus. Those bonuses. If there's a tie for most, then the players get a 2-point bonus. Or if 2 or more players tie, then each player gets 2. Let's say I had as much treasures as another guy or the other player, but I successfully crowned Conan, then I get the 2-point bonus. They don't get it. Successfully crowning Conan is a 3-point bonus already. There's 3 points to whoever has the most gold. A tie is broken with a tie is 1 point to each. The player that went the most blood crazy against other players and succeeded is going to get a bonus. So, Crown Count the Dead. Every time a player fights another player in battle and wins, they get one of these. Having the most gets you a 3-point bonus at the end. A tie is 1 for each one. So yeah, Crown Conan, Gold, Crown Count the Dead, Adventure tokens. The player with the most points on all that wins. In case of a tie, the player with the highest total number of Adventure tokens wins. If there's still a tie, the game isn't a tie. Although there might be a way to find out a final tiebreaker, but I rarely see it actually go that far. But yeah, that's Age of Conan. Yeah, actually fighting other players. It's possible for players to fight each other while one of them is trying to run a campaign. At which point the terrain being used is this one. If they get wiped out, they can force march and start the campaign instead. Alternatively, fighting someone before it. Now, you can never send military units into another player's home kingdom. You can send intrigue or your emissaries. But yeah. In this instance, they have a defense of 4. And the terrain is going to be the first one on the track. Leftmost cyclone. Now, someone might have defending units, which will make this very difficult. If they actually have 5 units here, then they'll be defending with 5 instead of 4. But as soon as they go under 4 units, they'll go out to 4. And then this is the last thing that gets removed. At which point the succeeding to remove that starts a new campaign. Take control. Yeah. Of course, if things aren't going so well, they may have to just retreat, at which point they get the Crown Count the Dead token. Anyway. Yeah, that's pretty much the game. Just a lot of random options, random battles. At the very least, there's no events that just come out at random to say everything over here just dies or whatever. no cataclysmic stuff happening. Why the hell do I like this game? It's just the flavor of each kingdom, the adventures that Conan's going on. There's... I've never really gotten into, like, the books or anything. I just watched the movie last year, which apparently is more like a mash up a lot of different things. I also remember the old cartoon, Conan the Adventurer. That's like a treasured memory of childhood for me, is that show. I'm somewhat positive, moderately positive about this game because the figures look nice. It's not some cheap cash-in game like some games end up being. It's actually done pretty well. Yeah, they had to do it back and right after that, but that happens. At least it's still, up on FFG's site for anyone who's still getting this game in this year. But yeah, if you think it's worth checking out from what I've covered, please check it out. It's a nice game. This has been Pillar Nexus. I will see you one more time for this series because I've got one last game coming in, and that's what I'm going to call it. That's the last of my two exceptions. My two exceptions are this game and the one I got coming next. See you next time.